All right, let's dive into one of the wildest, most mind-bending ideas to ever come out of physics. It's a theory that completely flips our understanding of life and death on its head. We're talking about quantum immortality.
So, what happens the moment you die? It's probably the biggest question any of us can ask, right? People have been debating it forever. But what if physics has an answer that's stranger than any religion or philosophy? What if the answer is absolutely nothing? What if, from your perspective, you just don't die?
Yep, you heard that right. The idea is that your consciousness will never actually experience its own end. Instead, it just sidesteps death. It kind of seamlessly shifts into a parallel universe where whatever should have killed you, well, it didn't. Sounds like a movie plot, I know, but this whole thing is actually based on some very real, very serious scientific ideas that physicists have been wrestling with for almost 100 years. So, here's the core of it. A life without end? From your point of view, your life is this one continuous story. Think about all the close calls, the what-ifs. According to this theory, in every single one of those moments, your consciousness just gets filtered into the reality where you survive. It's the only path it can take. But to even begin to wrap our heads around how that could be possible, we need to zoom way, way in. We need to leave our world behind and enter the quantum realm. Seriously, to get this, you have to basically forget everything you think you know about how reality works. All the normal rules, a ball is either here or there, an event has a clear cause and effect, you gotta throw all that out the window. Down at the quantum level, the universe plays by a completely different, totally bizarre set of rules. And it's in that weirdness that this whole idea of quantum immortality finds its footing. Okay, let's get into the nitty-gritty, the strange rules of the quantum world. Because this whole thing isn't just some philosophical thought experiment. It's a potential consequence of the fundamental physics that literally build our reality. And this isn't some brand new idea either. We're talking about a trail of breadcrumbs going back almost a century. It started way back in 1927 with the double slit experiment, which was just bonkers. That led to thought experiments like Schrödinger's famous cat in a box in 35, and all this weirdness eventually led to a really radical new way of looking at everything in 1957, which we'll get to. Okay, first concept you have to understand is something called quantum superposition. Think of it like this. If you flip a coin, while it's spinning in the air, it's not heads or tails, right? It's kind of both. Superposition is like that, but for real particles. An electron, for example, can literally be in multiple places at once, spinning in different directions, all at the same time. It's just a cloud of possibilities until something, or someone, looks at it. And we know this is true because of the famous double slit experiment. When scientists shot tiny particles, like electrons, at a screen with two slits in it, and they didn't watch where they were going, the electrons acted like waves and created a messy wave pattern on the other side. But, and this is the crazy part, the moment they put a detector there to see which slit the electron went through, boom, it suddenly acted like a normal little particle and just made two lines. The act of observing it literally forced reality to make a choice. This led to Schrödinger's cat, which was really just a way to show how absurd this all gets when you scale it up. Imagine a cat in a box. In that box, there's a tiny radioactive atom. If it decays, it triggers a hammer that smashes a vial of poison, and, well, bye-bye cat. The atom's decay is a quantum event, so until you look, it's in a superposition of both decayed and not decayed. So what does that mean for the cat? It means that, inside the box, the cat is literally both alive and dead at the exact same time. It's only when you open the box that reality snaps into one state or the other. So what's going on here? How does the universe choose? Does the cat just magically become alive or dead the second we peek? Or is there another option? Something way, way stranger. This is where the whole idea of infinite universes comes crashing in. So in 1957, this brilliant graduate student named Hugh Everett comes along and basically says, "You're all asking the wrong question." He had this wild idea. What if the universe doesn't have to choose at all? What if, every time there's a quantum choice to be made, reality just splits? This is what we call the many-world interpretation. So a quantum event happens, right? Like that atom decaying. Instead of reality collapsing into one outcome, the universe itself branches off, one branch for every single possibility. So when you open that box, the universe splits. In one reality, you find a living cat. And in another, totally separate reality, you find a dead cat. Both outcomes happen. They're both completely real, just in their own parallel worlds. Okay, so splitting universes. Cool story, but what does that have to do with you surviving death? Well, everything. Because your own existence, your own survival at the most fundamental level is also governed by these quantum events. And that's where things get really personal. Let's imagine the worst. A car is about to hit you. It's an unavoidable accident. According to many worlds, at that moment, the universe splits. In Universe A, the car hits you and you die. The story of your consciousness in that branch of reality is over. But in Universe B, some freak thing happens. Maybe the driver has a sudden spasm and jerks the wheel, or a bird hits the windshield. You miraculously survive. Now here's the key. Which of those universes can you possibly experience? Only the one where you're still conscious. It's almost just simple logic. You can't be aware of a reality where you're not aware. So your consciousness is always, always filtered into the branch where you survive. From your perspective, you'll always be the one who had the lucky break, the near miss, the incredible recovery. It's not luck, it's just the only reality you're capable of perceiving. And get this, some physicists have actually tried to calculate the odds of one person surviving all the tiny things that could go wrong from birth to now. We're talking diseases, accidents, even just random quantum errors in your own cells. The number they came up with is something like 1 in 10 to the 300th power. That's a 1 with 300 zeros after it. It's an impossible number. The very fact that you're here listening to this is so statistically impossible that it almost suggests your consciousness has been riding this razor-thin wave of survival all along. Now, if this is true, if our consciousness is constantly hopping between these timelines to stay on the survival track, wouldn't we notice something? Wouldn't there be side effects, maybe some glitches in the matrix? Well, some people think we see these little hints all the time. You know that feeling of déjà vu, where you're absolutely certain you've been somewhere or done something before, even though you know you haven't? Or what about the Mandela effect? When huge groups of people clearly remember something that just never happened, like Pikachu having a black tip on his tail. One wild idea is that these aren't just tricks of the mind. They could be like little memory scars, echoes from another timeline you just shifted from where things were slightly different. And this leads to a really creepy philosophical question. It's like the ship of Theseus paradox. If you replace every single board on a ship, one by one, is it still the same ship at the end? So if your consciousness jumps to a new reality to survive, are you still you? Or did the you from the last reality actually die, and you're just a copy carrying on with their memories? It's a pretty disturbing thought. So does this mean you get to live forever, just endlessly hopping from universe to universe? Is your consciousness truly immortal? Well, no, not exactly. There's a catch, a big one. Your seemingly endless journey has a very real, very final end.
Yeah, let's be super clear here. This isn't eternal life in some spiritual sense. It's not magic. Your consciousness is a physical thing happening in your brain, and your brain needs a universe that can support it. You can keep jumping to timelines where you survive, but only as long as there are timelines where survival is even possible, and eventually, they all run out.
Physics tells us the universe has an expiration date. It's called heat death. We're talking trillions upon trillions of years from now, but eventually every star will go out. Every black hole will evaporate into nothing. The universe will just become a cold, dark, empty place at absolute zero. And in a universe like that, nothing can happen. No energy, no movement, and definitely no consciousness. At that final point, it's game over. There are no more branches to jump to where you can survive, because survival itself becomes physically impossible. There's nowhere left for your consciousness to go. The long, strange trip finally comes to an end, dissolving into the final silence of the universe. So yeah, your journey will end, but the theory leaves us with this one last, incredible thought. It means that from your point of view, your entire existence has been a tightrope walk of impossible survival. You are the one who made it. You're the consciousness that dodged every bullet, real and metaphorical, to be right here, right now. And your story will always be the story of survival, right up until the very end. So the real question is, what does that mean for the life you're living today?